I'm not sure if anyone can hear me. It doesn't look like anyone's even on here, but more or less just doing this to test things and just kind of prep for doing more of this sort of thing in the future. I'm going to try to work out what works best as far as the layout. So if it should be with me here as you see me right there, or if I should be over here where this guy is. Right now I'm using the Synergy amp just for the intents and purposes of this, but I do plan to make an actual video demonstrating it, and I'm thinking about doing that live. I just got to figure out the balance of things here. I do feel like it's going to be a little bit easier to use a secondary computer of some kind to do this, even as just a capture source. So that's something I got to work out. But I am trying to get back to it, and I want to do it to where I can have my DAW up and play along with some tracks, as well as start doing more content here in relation to things I'm testing, like the Synergy Jam over here, as well as just doing some general mixing and just getting back into things that I was doing more in the pandemic that I've kind of stopped doing it altogether. I have the time now, and I'm going to start doing it. So hopefully that's something that people will be interested in. My goal ultimately with this is to try to set it up to where we can do some super chats and stuff and try to build the channel a little bit. I feel like if I am doing more of this, maybe on a weekly basis with a live stream, that's something we can build up to. And more or less, I've taken on moving a vast majority of my belongings to a rehearsal space with my band, and I also plan to be doing a lot more of my video content from there. And that is cool, but it also requires a little bit of funding. So my goal here is to try to do a bunch of live streams, maybe set it up for a little bit of donation. Whatever you wonderful folks are willing to contribute just means that I can maintain that space and start making more content. Obviously, the proof is going to be in the pudding of said content, so I've got to actually be diligent and do that in order to live up to the expectation of even asking anyone to donate. But it is something that is coming down the pipeline, and I'm stoked about it. And I just more or less just want to get on here and toss it out there that I am going to be doing live streams. All those cool noises I'm making. More or less, just in this one, I'm showing off this jam and just kind of getting back into the feel of doing live streams. So I don't know if anyone's actually on here that's talking or not, but it looks like there's 6 of you watching, which is fantastic. I apologize if the labeling and stuff doesn't look right for all of the live streams. I haven't updated any of it since the pandemic. I'm trying to get all of it kind of dialed in. So hopefully that's cool with you. Hopefully you're going to be down to hang with me as I start doing more of these. I also plan to do live streams of full rehearsals with my band, because I feel like that is something that will be cool to share with you guys. And my plan is to try to run everything into our in-ear mixer and then simultaneously send a feed to my phone in those instances, just so you can hear a little bit of it. Or we will just set up a mic and the camera somewhere and we can bullshit with you. But the goal is to try to reconnect with all of you and rebuild the community that we once had here. I do see that Bunn, Scott Bunn, is back in YouTube land after a couple of years out of it. And I've jumped back in after about a year out of it. And, you know, just a lot of life changes going on and trying to embrace that change and maybe spend a little more time here with you. So I am grateful to have any of you here at all. And I'm hopeful that in the future, as I start to do more of this, you'll be along for the ride and we can make this a whole thing. Just responding to the one message that's in here. Baritone Goat. Yeah, live streams are cool. They're just, there's a lot of nuance to it because you're like, at least with what I'm doing, I'm using OBS and then setting up this little template that you see on the screen, which is where the cameras are kind of separated and whatnot. It takes a little bit of dialing in. I don't think this is the ideal way to do it. I really have no clue how I sound right now because I'm just using this lav mic. And the reality of it is it's a really dumb setup. So right now I have an Action Pro cam that is sitting over here about 3 or 4 feet to my right, and it's connected via USB-C to my laptop. My camera that we're on right now is my phone, and it's wirelessly going to OBS. And for my audio, I'm using this guy here, which is from Miyamo. It's just a lav mic. So I've got a lot of stuff going on that's kind of conflicting and probably creating some latency, to be frank. I am monitoring myself with the guitar through the interface. So I am not, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not getting as much as I would like to get out of things. There's simpler ways for me to do live streams too, which is mostly just run all of the audio out to my phone or to the GoPro type camera and just do it that way. It doesn't allow for me to interact in the same way as I am now, which is where I can read the messages here on the screen and respond to them in real time. Ideally, what I want to do is invest in a Mac Mini, probably an M4, just whatever the cheapest entry-level Mac Mini is right now. And I'm going to run that in tandem with my laptop so I can do all the video stuff going into one thing and have OBS be its own computer. And hopefully that'll make things a little smoother. And I'm still working all that out. So I realize this isn't the most exciting conversation. So if you got any questions or anything, certainly feel free to ask. Hi, John, or I think JP, anyway. Yeah, I guess I'll talk a little bit about this jam. I do plan to do a video on it soon. I inherited this guitar through some questionable means, not necessarily like questionable. There's just a story behind it I can't really get into, but long and short of it is I ended up with this guitar as a result of something silly happening with another guitar. And I've never owned an Evertune loaded guitar. And I was frankly kind of against them because most of my experience with them had been super negative. I had worked on a few Evertunes when I was out traveling with some other folks. And yeah, just, you know, when I was doing tour stuff and doing, I guess you would call it guitar tech work in the past, the Evertunes I was dealing with were faulty as a result of basically just some poor QC work from Solar. So my experience with them was pretty terrible. And then I had one put on a guitar I loved very much, and it sucked the life out of that guitar, and it made me not want to play it anymore. And I ended up selling it. What I realized later was that because on my old 6 strings and 6-string baritones, I was tuning to an open tuning, the Evertune just didn't like that very much because there's a weird balance of tensions. So like some strings are tuned higher, some strings are tuned lower. It just was something the Evertune fought quite a bit. Since I've transitioned back into playing more standard tunings as far as like not open tunings, I noticed it works a little better that way, and it was much easier to dial in. With 7-string stuff with my band, Modern Witchcraft, I am using what you call it, baritone 7s for a lot of our new record that's going to come out soon. And all of it is in either A or F sharp, and getting F sharp to stay in tune on any guitar, regardless of the scale, tension, all that sort of thing, is a little sketchy, especially with more like heavy muting. And the Evertune really saves my ass on that. So I don't know how much I'll use it all the time because it is quite heavy and a little bit of a process to get dialed in every time, but it does the job. I find Evertune to be hit or miss. Not every guitar works well with the Evertune. I agree with you. I think, trying to do the math here. This is guitar number 10, I think I've messed with as an Evertune. And in full transparency, it took me about a month to get this one dialed in. I basically had to take my other guitars and write down the measurements and the height, string heights, and just how I had everything set up, and then slowly get this to where those guitars were. After a bit of trial and error, it came together. It works well. More so, I just wanted to be able to do that without knocking the guitar out of tune. And there's a riff on the record we're getting ready to put out, which I'll play, that has some pretty hard bends. So I need to be able to do that without it going out of tune. And when tracking that part, it was quite finicky and took a lot of going back and forth to like really nail it. And it's weird because there's a feel difference and there is a sound difference and a responsiveness. It's different between the Evertune and a standard guitar. So even playing that bend when I was recording, I used an Evertune guitar and I used a guitar that wasn't Evertune, and then we kind of just layered them, which you'll hear relatively soon. When the first single comes out, you'll hear some stuff in there. There's a lot of low F sharp on the record that's getting ready to come out. But anyway, yeah, I noticed that like when we were tracking it and I was bending these super low notes, even on another baritone 7 I had, it definitely is a little more natural sounding, and then the bend itself is a little smoother, obviously, because there's no resistance to it other than the string itself. On this, there is resistance that is more so the tension that's been set from the Evertune. But it's not the same feel and the same kind of playability as a guitar that doesn't have one. Although it is an excellent instrument and it sounds great. I will say that it is cool that it came with the Fishman's preloaded, because that's kind of my jam anyway. I am a Fishman guy and got the Fishman endorsement and all that as well. So it didn't require any of that usage in that situation. I just got a guitar that had them. It's set up really nice. I did remove the tone pot because that's what I do on all my guitars. There's no tone knobs. And it's got push-pull, so you can still do the single coil thing if you wanted to. Let me switch channels on the amp here. And in all honesty, the Bogner through the Synergy, the clean is kind of lacking a bit. I don't really care for the clean channel that's on the Synergy amp. It would do the trick in a live setting if you needed it to, but more or less, I just like that you've got, you know, the sounds from the Bogner Uberschall, because you can't, I mean, at least I can't afford a $4,000 amp head that kind of does one sound. In this instance, something like the Synergy, having the modules is pretty cool. I've got the Fortin module here, maybe, yeah, Fortin module, and I have the Bogner Uberschall module. I'm doing a video for Zounds on those. There'll be a separate video for this guitar, which is not from Zounds, but I will put affiliate links to this guitar because Zounds does carry it. But I'm actively working on stuff again, which is kind of nice. If you're at all interested in that sort of thing, let me know. I am going to be doing some content on this jam as well. It is my backup rig, but it's going to be the main thing I use for live streams, I think, just because it's simpler. Right now I'm using the Synergy because it's got an IR direct out, and that allows me to you know, be able to play through a nice tube amp without, you know, bothering everybody in town. That's me slopping it up. Anyway, just hanging out and putting the feel back out there for it. Baritone Goat, you used the Schecter that's red and black, the Red Dawn, and I believe you had the 7 and the 6. I didn't have a great experience with that guitar. Now, I will say that the video I did on it was fun, and the clean on that guitar, for whatever reason, shined like crazy. However, mine that I got from Zounds to demo was broken. I want to say it's the second lowest string on the Evertune. The actual module itself was broken, so you still had to tune it at the headstock. But if it weren't for the fact that it looks so metal and just black and red, I probably would have kept that instrument. Okay. Did you do the Baritone 7 or the Baritone 6? I only ask because I'm considering getting one, not necessarily because I love the aesthetics of it, but because it got you. Both in 6. Because it was a good tool, and there aren't a ton of baritones out there that are, you know, prefab that have it on it. So I'm really interested in having one just for recording purposes, because I do see the benefit of it. But I'm also playing 7-string almost exclusively as of late, so I may just get another 7 with an Evertune, or have one of my other 7 strings modified to have an Evertune, and so I've got one for F sharp and one for A flat. I'll switch guitars really quickly because I have got some newer guitars in the last year or so, and this is one of my mains. This is my 7-string Evertune that'll be featured on the new recording because it was used in that process. Actually, just recently used the first round of recording, which we did with the lovely Nick Hill. We used a handful of things to record. I'm going to turn this down just for a second so it doesn't make a ton of noise. It still did anyway. Give me just a second and I will come right back with another one. Sorry if that's clingy. I know that it's just, the lav's just hanging on me, so I'm sure I'm making noise. Okay. So this jam right here is my favorite guitar right now that I own. It's a Kiesel Vader 7. It is 27 inches. This is a Koa top Vader. It is currently loaded in its basswood body, and it is a 1-piece neck, 3-piece body, but it is, yeah, it's the jam. I pulled the volume knob in this one because the way these pickups are wired, it made more sense, so I moved it back to the tone position. But it's a great guitar. This one's got Fishman Classics in it. It had the, what you call it, Iridium in it. When I got it, but I did not care for that. It was a little too much for me. And I think I'm probably going to end up putting an open core modern in the bridge of this. I do like this pickup that's in there. It sounds very nice, but I'm still kind of missing the attack and the bite of the moderns. As you can hear with the low note. It's a little, I don't know how to explain it. It's a little flubby. It doesn't have the attack. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't have the attack that the modern does. It doesn't have that initial bite. It sounds good when it's distorted, but it's still kind of lacking some of that. Yep, it's flubby, which I don't mind. Distorted, it's kind of got a thing. Man, that Lundgren, the M7 and the I think it's the M6. I've played those in a few guitars over the years. I really love them. Lots of bite, lots of attack, but also a lot of nice mid-range, and this is a nice sounding thing. So I didn't expect to like this guitar at all, honestly. A buddy of mine had it for sale for about 2 years, and it just wasn't moving. And I started getting interest in headless guitars because I had done a video on a couple of Strandbergs. But I wanted to try something that was a little more normal feeling, but still had kind of the ergonomic aspects of a headless like a Strandberg. Whereas this one is just standard neck, so there's like nothing weird or ergonomic about it. The body is very ergonomic, and it's the perfect couch guitar. It feels great to sit and play. I end up watching TV playing it all the time. It's just cozy. But it's taken a little bit of work to get dialed in, but now that I've had it all set up and everything, it's pretty awesome. I traded that Tom DeLonge baritone that I made for this. And I've kind of fallen in love with it. Not a huge fan of the aesthetics of it, but I don't hate it either. It's just not my normal thing to have something that's as natural looking or kind of gaudy, for a lack of a better term. But I am sold on it, and do plan to part with a few of my other guitars, and I think I'm going to get a Kiesel custom made. And when I do that, I'll probably do it in a live stream. When I actually go to place the order, I'll do it here, and you can watch me spend a bunch of money I don't need to spend at that time, but I'm going to sell a bunch of instruments to buy an instrument. That's been my thing lately. Get rid of a few, get a couple of nice ones, And this guy, if you were to buy it brand new, is about $3,000, which is crazy. But frankly, it plays amazing. It stays in tune quite well. It's light. And yeah, other than kind of wanting to change the pickups already, it did not have these in it when I got it. I just wanted something that aesthetically looked similar to what was in it. But I've found that I don't care for the lowest string on this in relation to how flubby it is. But honestly, for the price of most of what you can get right now with just general guitars, like to be able to spend $2,000 and get a fully custom instrument from a company is pretty unheard of. And I've looked up what it would take to make the Kiesel I want, which is basically a Vader 7, 27-inch, just like this one is, or fan fretted. I haven't decided on that yet. But I want to do it with a single Fishman Modern, which is kind of my thing, usually just single pickup guy. And I'm going to get it in some sort of bright, obnoxious color and then move on with my life. But I don't know, kind of digging it. What's up, Digital Bath 81? I'm really stoked that there's people on here, all 13 of you. It's awesome, especially considering I've been MIA for a couple of years from doing the live streams. Right, Baritone Goat. Yeah, it's most companies you're starting out somewhere between 3,000 beyond for a custom instrument, but Kiesel will you can, the cheapest thing on the builder, if you get it just to standard spec, usually most of the time those are anywhere from 14 up. I think the cheapest I've been able to make one on there is like 17 and some change. That's with like no finish, but picking the body style and neck profile I liked, which is cool. The Koa thing, if I were to pay to get that, that's like an extra $500, unless it's on special at the time, but pretty excessive. I just want a solid color, and I'll probably get the open pore thing, just because I like that aesthetic with a color. If not, I'll just do a matte color and be cool with it. Yeah, man. It's a weird thing. I don't know. Like, I always liked carving stuff, but I think I bought into the internet, particularly YouTube. YouTube kind of talked very poorly of the gentleman from Kiesel, Jeff Kiesel, for a bit, and there was some negative press here with guitar YouTubers and stuff. And that kind of soured me on it, and I was not that interested in playing them. And then I started seeing some of the guitars and just looking at, like, they're super interesting and unique looking. I really like that Kyber guitar that he came out with. That thing just looks incredible. It looks really like sleek and ergonomic, but also kind of aggressive. It looks like it could fit in pretty much any genre. But honestly, the moment I played this thing, I was sold. And I don't like headless guitars, to be frank, but I kind of fell in love with this one. It's honestly like got me interested in the Kyber because the Kyber does have a headstock and it's a similar body shape. So I may go that route. I'm not sure yet. But either way, I'm really impressed with this, and it plays like a dream. It stays in tune really well. So if that's going to be the standard by which I judge each of their instruments, then cool. I've also been looking at some used ones. I've found a couple of used 7s that have Evertunes on them between Guitar Center's used site and the actual reverb. I was going to say the actual Kiesel website, but there's nothing affordable on the actual Kiesel website. It's all super expensive one-off stuff as far as what's already made. But anyway, I'm sorry if I'm covering up the mic. I legit cannot hear anything I'm saying is in relation to that. Ballard prices aren't terrible for the most part. Options. Dunnable's awesome. And Balaguer I've only looked at. I would love to play one. I think they sent you one to demo, which is incredible. I've been eyeballing the Growler for a while. I saw that Noir Draven did a review of a 30-inch growler, and that looked cool. I think it's an Espada is the one I saw that Pete from Chevelle was playing recently, an Espada baritone, and I just like the shape and the contours of it. It's a beautiful instrument. I know they make a standard model of that, but it seems to be out of stock most of the time. But I would love to try one of them. So I've definitely tried this, and I'm happy with it. Dunable's cool, but you're gonna pay the price. I did see that Dunable just released some 7s, which I'm really into and would love to own, but the cheapest one they have on their site right now is $4,000. I'm hoping they do a D series with the 7s, because then I will definitely buy one. I don't know. I've kind of fully transitioned into 7-string in the last year. I still have a couple of baritone 6s that I will still use for recording, and I may use them for shows just depending on how I'm feeling. But I just kind of really came to enjoy 7 again, and I like having the extra string in both directions, just for creativity. And for me, it kind of like made the instrument new to me again. As stupid as that sounds, I was just kind of a little bored. So I went to 7. In order to just kind of break myself out of a rut and start playing a little more. I noticed that using an actual tube amp is a little noisier. You have a Class D, it's dope. What 2 circuits are built into it? That is interesting. I'm probably got to get back into doing more quad cortex content too, because it seems like some of those videos I did where I was creating presets did pretty well, and it seems like more people have the quad cortex now than when I was doing content on it initially. So I'm going to get back into that too. I don't have it with me right now because it's at my jam space, but I do have this guy, and I'll be using that for streams, I believe, unless I'm doing a stream exclusively about creating presets. Anyways, just kind of random ramblings right now. I don't really have a topic to cover per se. Pitchfork and a whammy button. Oh, weird. So he's just doing all kinds of random pitch stuff. Interesting. I wonder, I saw that Better Lovers is going to end up having a new singer. I'm curious to see how they do. It's going to be hard to find someone that can match Greg's intensity, so I'm kind of curious and excited to see what they do musically without him. I mean, Will's kind of the head of that anyways, I think, so should be interesting. Man, I don't know. I can't imagine what it would be like to have a pitch thing in the guitar. I'm sure it would be fun. There used to be this company called Built that made guitars, and I think they're still a thing. They're like a custom one-off thing. They're very expensive, but they've made a few guitars that have like tons of pedals built into them. I know like Wes Borland had one for a bit that had the what's it called, the carbon copy and fuzz and something else in it, like, and it was just buttons on the top that you just pressed and it turned them on. That would be cool. I think that would be an acceptable shift in front person if they're not going to have Greg. No, he put out another Black Clean record, and he's doing his supporting stuff with Jerry Cantrell. So I'm sure he doesn't necessarily need another band. And it also was funny to me because I think he was a big part of the reason that Dillinger kind of slowed was, you know, his disinterest in things with it, and then to go into a band that's kind of just Dillinger light to some degree. Not that I'm not throwing shade. I like both bands quite a bit, but it is certainly similar in feel. I don't know, but I don't know. I like Black Queen. I like everything that Greg does, but I also like everything the other guys are doing too. So be interesting. I enjoyed the pre Greg era of Dillinger as well with Dimitri. So it's all cool. I haven't listened to a ton of metal-y stuff lately. I've been mostly listening. Like I get into a phase where when I'm doing vocal work on a record, I end up just listening to a lot of like electronica and pop stuff. So my like not lyrical but melody stuff isn't influenced by anything like in the rock and metal world. So right now, it's mostly what I'm doing is working on vocals for a record. So I'm trying to just have my influences be skewed from the metal and current rock world. Not that it matters to anyone but me, but it's a thing. I think I might sign off here shortly, but I just wanted to test this and make sure it all worked. I really appreciate people hanging out. I am going to try to do this again soon. I would agree with you. That definitely was what made them have a thing. Gotcha. Okay. So, yeah, I'm just kind of riding this out. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm going to shut it down. And hello, Baritone Dave. Sorry you're kind of getting in as I'm shutting it down. But I was just running it to see if it was going to work out well. And I'll check in with everybody sometime next week and do this again. It'll either be Thursday or Friday. And I plan to have another video up this week as well. So getting back to it, and stoked to have hung out with all of you for a little bit. And I'll try to have it a little more in order next time and have some backing tracks and access to the DAW so that I can actually play music to something rather than just kind of sit around dinking about. But just wanted to hang out. It's Friday. And hope everybody has a great weekend. And yeah, that's it. Have a good one.